Okay, it's 1 o'clock. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Start with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Lord, we come to you today, Father, to do the business of the people of Brown County. Lord, guide our brains. Lord, give us a measure of your wisdom. Father, look over the words we say, the attitudes that we have, Father. With your guidance and your help, we can expect. Let's speak things out of this meeting. We ask in faith in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Well, welcome to the April 27th meeting. It's 1 o'clock and we'll start with county personnel or public comment. And we have Mr. Jerry Aller here right at the desk. Jerry, go ahead.
Okay. I just still have questions about the security check out here. Might ask since Mr. Tesla, that I'm calling Richard, I'll say Richard, it's easier. But, I mean, how are you for this security check?
How am I for the security check? That's a loaded question.
Or I mean, are the county commissioners totally on board for it?
So you're not the first person that's brought that up to me, and I've had some lengthy discussions with it. It's a two-answer question. If you were to ask me if we did not have a metal detector out there, that we didn't, like it was in the old days, if you were to ask me if I would vote to put it in, my answer would be no. If you were to ask me if I'd vote to take it out right now, I always look at a lot of things like what's it cost us to do certain things. And the expense of that thing was put in, I think, around 20. It was before my time and your time, but anyways, the county spent the money on that, and I understand. We also have to think about, it's not just the county commissioners and the 2 floors, it's the 3rd floor that works for. Now, I believe that metal detector and an armed guard is, I think if that could be on the 3rd floor, I think that's where it would serve the best, right? But putting it on the 3rd floor is almost impossible, because then you'd have to cover 3 entrances, 2 staircases and an elevator. So the cost would be a lot of money, and I'm not for that at all. Some people say, well, we could save money if we take it out, because then we wouldn't have to have a guard here. I think the courthouse needs a guard. Okay. I think an armed guard is a good thing. So even if we took the metal detector out, I would still want the sheriff to have a deputy in here during normal business hours. That's my opinion. When you look at it, the state of Kansas says that counties have the right to put in a metal detector and an armed guard if they're going to take our constitutional right away from concealed carry. So they also say that they have to have adequate security, is what the state says. Adequate is subjective also. What is adequate security to you? What is adequate security to me? But the state has the right to tell the counties. The county does have the right to put that in there.
Because of the concealed carry.
Because of the concealed carry. They have in what they call, the term is, I'm trying to remember the name of the term, but the state talks about sensitive areas or something like that, where you have the right at a post office, you have the right at a courthouse. There are certain areas that the state gives the right to the counties and says you can determine what is a sensitive area. A courthouse is considered a sensitive area. The Supreme Court says that they can do that also. Now, I think you know that the Supreme Court is supposed to hear arguments on whether or not we can do what we're doing. And like the last people I talked to, I said, let's see what the Supreme Court ends up saying, if in fact it does go that far. Because this may be a point where the Supreme Court says that counties don't have the right to do that. Am I a 2A guy? 100%. Am I a concealed carry guy? Every day. I believe in the right to conceal carry and protect myself. But I also know right now the law says that the counties do have the right to put in a metal detector and deny us the right of concealed carry in this building. Just like when we go to the post office, you conceal carry there. When you jump on an airplane, you can't conceal carry on an airplane. And I've had people,
Train, you can take a shotgun, knives and.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I haven't ridden a train since I was a little kid. But I'm just saying there are areas where I give up my concealed carry rights. And one of them is flying and one of them is going into a post office and one of them is when I come
But
into
it
the
goes
courthouse.
against the Constitution, Second Amendment, not to be abridged. You have the right to carry. My relative Peter Aller was in the Revolutionary War, and my wife's relative was Captain Boots Rush in the Revolutionary War. And as far as I'm concerned, it's on check power out here, just like I mentioned. I have freedom of speech, and then I have a Brown County employee officer come in and detain me from the meeting last week because the journalist that they said I was loud, and I just told you. And lots of times I raise my voice, and it's probably because people aren't listening. 'Cause
Sure.
what us taxpayers feel like we're the pig that lost his voice, we're disgruntled. And just like, I'm gonna have to you're gonna cut me off anyway, but I have to go up and protest my taxes here in a little bit. Because we had the state come in and have Laura Kelly's minions come in from Emporia to raise our taxes, what was it, 40-some%? So now we have the appraiser upstairs that says, I hate to do these, I don't even want to do these. Well, if they quit raising our taxes, maybe we wouldn't have to do it. But going back to this last week, I mean, the journalist said he talked to me after the meeting, and then the deputy sheriff comes in. I mean, I believe in controlling the government, not the government controlling us. And it just, I just see a change in our society. And the officer told me that this wasn't a public place. Well, that's news to me. I mean,
You don't have to. We do have 15 minutes. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
cut you off. You got something else, but
Well-
15 minutes we will do.
I mean, I'm just.
Well, Jerry, listen, we appreciate that you're coming in and you have concerns, but your initial question is in regards to a metal detector. And obviously, there's some other things that you're not happy about. I'm not happy about paying more taxes either. I protested my taxes. Okay, it's your right to protest your tax or to protest the valuation, not the taxes. We have to pay taxes. But what you're doing is you're protesting the valuation that the county's placing upon your property, which leads to you paying more because.
But we don't have to pay taxes when the appraiser's office is vengeful and say, okay, in New York, they up your taxes 200, 400, 600%. You're lucky I'm not doing that to you here. So, I mean, are we in a society?
Well, I would hope that a representative of the county wouldn't say you're lucky we're not doing it here.
Okay,
I
but
don't
who's
think
my
that's-
representative?
You're the commissioner, sir.
Okay. but
Specifically, where do you live?
I didn't vote for them.
Okay.
But.
So I'm your representative in District 1.
Okay, I didn't vote for my taxes to go up and my valuations to go up, and they just go up year after year. If they're stopped 1 year, then they go right back up. And as I said, the initial, when the Emporia appraiser came up here, they raised them, so now it's a constant battle. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people, they're afraid to come in, they don't want to be a pariah, and
We hope
it looks like Billy Jenner.
We don't want them to be afraid.
Yeah,
Well-
we're welcome you. You're more than welcome to come talk to us anytime.
Jerry, are your numbers so high that they're just completely out of bounds? Or, I mean, is your house at a number where do you think it's a fair value?
You know,
You think it is too high?
yeah,
Okay.
in terms of what has been going up each year.
I know it's going up every year, but the county, when we dug back in this, the county was way behind on their values. Right or wrong, the county was always low. And Steve up there has got him current. Now, you can argue that he's going too far, and that's fine. That's what you're doing. You're gonna go up there and see him, but we don't want anybody to be afraid to come in here. We're not.
Well, but see, basically, my representative is Steve upstairs, and my wife's taking it to Kansas. Steve.
Are you going to Boda? To the tax appeal?
No, it's a joke. You go down there and when we built our house and they said, oh, well, you did labor on your house, so you save money that way. So they, it's like, you try to, but, I just want to know though, why we had, this officer said, well, this is no security like Leavenworth County. Well, they have a prison there and a military, a city. My question is,
Who said that to you, Jerry? Who said that to you?
The office, deputy.
Deputy Sheriff?
I'm
Okay,
not gonna mention any names,
okay.
but, the thing is, why do we? And the journalists mentioned, different things like this affects the city, the township, the county, the state. And my idea is, why does this city and the county always have to be like grown up like other cities, like, Lawrence or whoever? And then why is our Brown County attorney from Atchison and the one before that was from Atchison? Why can't we have Brown County attorney people, just like I said before, we had an Emporia city person come up to raise our taxes for Laura Kelly's menu.
So to answer that question real quick, because you're asking a bunch of questions and you're passionate and I appreciate that you're passionate and there's a lot of things going on right
I
now.
hope I'm not loud and,
No, you're fine.
disrespectful.
You're not disrespectful at all. This is your right to come and voice your opinion. But let's answer the question. Why is the Brown County attorney from Atchison? Well, in the old days, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Counselor, but in the old days, they probably said that the county attorney had to live within or reside within the county.
I think that may have been on, in a long time ago, but.
But what's
That's all
happening
changed.
as time goes by, as you know, there's less and less attorneys that actually live in Brown County, okay? And some of the attorneys that do don't want to run. So you're left with, as population decreases, our population decreases every year. I don't know if you're aware of that. But as population decreases, we don't have a plethora of attorneys that live in Brown County that will run. So counties have done just like what Brown County has done. And they said, look, as time goes by and we have less people that are willing to run, we have to make basically amendments to our rules and say, we will allow an attorney to be from a different county. And that's why that happens. Believe me, I wish we had more people that could run for these offices, but as time goes by, we don't.
I could mainly believe that was Finney County or somewhere with not much population, but,
Well, if you can talk to the attorneys in Brown County and get them to run, then maybe next time the attorney will be from Brown County. But right now, if you look, Nikki, I believe when Mr. Hill ran last time, he ran unopposed, right?
well,
Okay,
but-
so again, if any of the few attorneys that actually live in Brown County would have ran, he may not have won. I don't know. And then you would have an attorney from Brown County, but that's the reason. As popular, just like the same reason why it's hard to get doctors here. We don't have a lot of doctors that live in town anymore.
But I've got 3 minutes left, you said.
Sure.
But, the thing is, we had a Brown County appraiser, but we had one come from Emporia to point that out. And another thing is, you talked about the expense, what did magnetometer cost to start with?
I believe that the cost of that magnetometer when it was put in was $7,600. I believe
Okay.
that's the cost I saw.
I'd say that's about 3/4 of what, no, that's about a third of what my wife and I paid for taxes last year. But, anyway, I'd like to know, and I don't expect you to have the information, but the Brown County employees have deductible paid on their insurance. Okay, what year did that start? How much was it each year? And I'll wait for next week's meeting.
Okay, so you're asking about deductibles on insurance.
The gap policy is. that
No,
what you
I
mean?
understood that they had their deductibles paid after the first $1,000.
Yeah.
That
That's
was the
gap.
gap plan.
And that is true. It used to be like, that.
Okay,
We
so
discontinued.
you mean they paid the first 1,000 and then the county pays
The
the
county
rest?
paid the remaining four,
Okay.
and insurance
getting
came.
close to so this is my
So,
wife.
so Jerry,
We discontinued.
this commission, these three commissioners, and it was not a popular decision to make, but we made the decision that in the current market and the current status of Brown County, we could no longer afford to do that. And that is no longer the
Okay.
case.
I know that now that's happened, but how much was spent previous years? Can I ask that?
You can ask that. I believe,
I'll wait for next week. Now, I got about 1 minute left.
well, wait a minute, but let me answer that. I believe the previous year it was about $69,000.
For how many years previous?
I don't know, Jerry,
That
but
was
you're
last
asking some questions and I believe, but the commissioners looked at it and said, at this time, we can't afford to do that.
Okay, well, so the taxpayer deductible next, we can figure 69,000 for the last year and then how many years previous?
Do you have a lot of questions for us? We might be able to answer them for you, so we don't, you
No,
can
no.
come back and we can give you your answer.
No, but I'm happy doing, one last thing here.
Okay.
Can I ask for something to be put in the minutes? If it's on it's.
You can, but it's up to the commission what they do. So
There's the answer.
Okay, so it'd be in there.
you could ask for it, but it's up to them to determine whether it goes in.
You're Brown County or.
I'm the county council.
I didn't mean to.
So most-
bad mouth you.
So
No,
Gary,
I'm not
most,
the
just so
county-
you understand, most counties
I'm not-
have a county attorney who is elected. And then they can have a county counselor who is not elected. And
Okay,
so
I serve the commission.
he
Yeah.
serves the commission.
we're missing the guy that.
Now he's different. He does the criminal
Just,
problem.
I'm just looking at the clock. I don't want to cut you off, but
Yeah.
15 minutes went pretty fast. It's 1:15.
If I stay too long, we might have a deputy sheriff.
Well,
Jerry, how about we do this? Would you mind if I came by your house and talked to you more about some of these subjects?
Sure, goes well,
Okay, and I believe you live up,
north of the airport,
know the country.
well, you live in the, I was thinking you lived in the neighborhood out here.
no, 2 miles north.
Okay.
North of the Red Hawk, shooting range, and 1 mile over, I'm on a Century Farm that my great grandfather.
Okay. So if I could reach out to you, and I'd be happy to come and sit and talk to you about some of these things. You got a lot of things going on and you're passionate and there's a lot of different questions and we're
Okay,
spinning this plate and spinning this plate. So we're trying to,
I'm good at that.
okay.
My name is middle name is Bramble, so. But the one last thing I wanted in the minutes, because this is occurring, I went to the Hiawatha Township meeting. And I know you don't have anything to do with the township, it's like the state, when I was the second or treasurer. If I had questions, I went to Dick Roller, it's been years ago, and he was very helpful on that part. But now the state won't even help with the township. And if I go to the county or the state, they'll say the township's its own entity, you can do.
So
what they
if I
want."
could answer real quick, okay? This commission is trying to do things a little bit different. We've been traveling around and meeting with the townships. Because yes, the townships, they get their taxes they pay, then they get paid back to them and they control their portion of the geographic area. But as this county commission is trying to do, we're trying to partner and work with these townships. We're also trying to get them to partner and work with each other, the contiguous ones. For instance, Panonia and Irving are working together right now. So even though we don't tell them what they have to do, we are asking to get involved and try to figure out better ways the county and the townships can work together to save money.
Okay,
And part of it is because we would like to figure out a way to have maybe less rolling stock in this county and share more equipment to save the taxpayers money. Does that
well,
make sense?
but yes, at one time, I wanted the county to take over the township.
Well,
because they
that's
were-
a whole different subject.
Well, yeah, I mean, at first they're, well.
But right now, we are trying to actively work closer with our townships. And they are agreeing to work with each other to have more of a team approach.
So Jerry, I mean, I've got to, we're 3 minutes over. We've got somebody coming at 1:15. What did you want in the minutes? Can you say it? So we get it done?
Because, yeah, I think I'll pass the time here, but anyway, the thing is, I wanted it in the minutes. And have everybody aware that it's been a problem. Hey, I'm not saying that the township isn't, that they're doing their job, and that Josh, he's the great maintainer man and everything, but what I would like in the minutes is that, this has been a problem for years, it's a 3/4 of a mile east of me, and there's a farmer dumps his, terraces into the ditch. When I did that, the board member come to me and said, you need to, change that, that's when my wife and I first bought it, we couldn't afford it, but we did. But we didn't put in a waterway, we tiled, but this guy inherits the farm, and then he can't spend the money, and now it's got a huge ditch that the township is gonna have to use one of those side dump trucks to fix it, because, but what I'm passionate about is, or crazy, whatever we wanna say, my pre-teen granddaughters drive the Arctic Cat around there illegally. And there's farm trucks that come down there, and my wife's been run off the road, I've been run off the road. And they come down like the highway, and then you got a 10-foot ditch, 12 foot from the center of the road. And I'll finish up here for whoever wants the next appointment here, but what does it take? My wife and daughter was hit on 62nd Street going north to Peatland. And we went to KDOT and we told them, can't you put some bigger stop signs or rumble boards? They said, somebody has to be killed first. Okay, are you commissioners aware?
I don't believe that's the case.
But it happened in our own county, up there at the truck stop, which is the Nemaha Brown County line. I don't know the 8-year girl's name. I don't expect you to, but she was killed when a semi run over her. And the last sentence I want to say is, we have the same problem out here at Skyview Implement. There's no turning lane to go around to turn.
And that's a state highway and Skyview has worked with the state trying to get that changed. That is, that we have no authority on the state
I'm
highway.
just giving examples how this township thing.
Okay, so let me give you one example and then we'll end this, okay? There was also a intersection that somebody brought to our attention where somebody was injured. And we moved on it and it took working with Topeka and working with Horton. And we just recently put a four-way stop there. Okay, so
Right.
we are not deaf. We don't just basically say we don't care. When you bring problems to our attention, these two gentlemen and myself want to fix things.
Right.
So if you have a location that you feel is unsafe, even if it's in the township, I would be happy to come out and look at it.
Well, okay, yeah, the county's not responsible for the malfunction junction out there at Skyview, but all it would take is a little asphalt. And they could make it much safer, so.
Well, again,
no one
you're
who's ever killed
passionate,
there.
you have lots of ideas, so I would like to come talk with you and we can
Sure.
look at some of these ideas and we're not here just to not fix things, okay?
Mr. Clement, Mr. Test.
Just call me Richard.
Richard, okay,
Right.
good answer.
Are you coming back next week?
Yeah.
Give us a heads up
Don't
on-
put that there.
Text me some of your questions. I can find the answer before you get it. All right.
Been really helpful. Thank
All right.
Do you have a pen, Jerry? A pen or pencil right there?
I'll give you that.
Write this number down.
Briefcase.
Right here. Just write this number down. Here. In fact, yeah, let me give you there you go. This will save you. You can reach out to any of us
Okay,
anytime.
sure.
And that
Thank
means weekends as well.
you. Yeah, appreciate it.
Okay?
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, the next on our agenda, and we're just a little over time here, is the
Balloon.
is it balloon? Balloon?
Yes, it is.
Baton balloon alternative bridge technology.
Yeah, so I can give a little background on that for the Tom Balloon. They had a little trouble doing the Zoom meeting, but that was 40 right now.
Okay,
And then something that I'll give a little bit of introduction on it. But in speaking for the past several weeks, I think some understanding what they're offering really to do. Okay. Thanks so much. Okay, so I'll give a little bit of background on it. And see whether we might be able to. I'll let them know. Having you. Okay, so the technology is a little different than what is available elsewhere. Okay, what they figured out to do is instead of building a span for the short and medium term bridges, okay, instead of us having a technology that would be basically like a glorified box culvert.
Have you defined the difference between short and medium?
Yeah, I think this works for even large span, like you could go up to 100 feet.
Yeah.
You could self-perform all the way through, but starting with short and medium. It goes beyond 100 feet potentially, and you'll see why there's not really a restriction on it because of what they did. Okay, they figured out that if they engineered the arch right. Okay. You could put an arch in place. And then the arch is the structural component.
Is the arch precast or is it poured in place?
Poured in place. So that's why it's variable in length, right? So with their architectural understanding exactly what that curve needs to be, they've stress tested and load tested it. So not only will it take the weight of a bridge, but even independent of the structure, that it survived hurricanes, it's a very stable because it's an arch, all right? So by defining the space on the base on each end, and I'm still checking now to see whether they've gotten, okay? Dallas, I think there's a security setting because they're from overseas that they can't enter the Zoom meeting. Do we have to? Yeah, I know, it's odd. I didn't know there was a security setting. So I've never had that with my Zoom either, because I've done meetings in Zoom, I don't know. Anyway, anyway, I'll explain a little bit more and then we'll
So is
move
it
on.
a form? Is the arch?
Yeah.
form?
It's a form,
Okay.
okay, and I've got the presentation that I can
Okay.
pull up a little bit here. And then I could call them, they could call in if nothing else.
So is the form reusable?
Yeah, so I
So you
think,
can strip the form after it's poured in place?
I think so. They've done it before where it's, and I've talked with them about the idea of having reusable, like we need reusable form. And the idea is self-performance as well, okay? So they understand that we're looking for three things and their goal is to introduce into the Kansas market. So they're trying to come in and I've explained that by coming into Kansas, yes, strategically, we have more bridges than elsewhere, like Texas, even though they're larger than us, they have less bridges in a fail status. So Iowa and Kansas were like top 2 out of the top 10 states in the country with failed bridges. So it's strategically good for them. What they've figured out to do is they have forms and they can be stripped away. I think that their reusability is flexible. Like if we have the same, I think they can reuse it. But it's heavy pour concrete and you don't have to have the steel. Okay, no steel beams. There's like a 60% steel reduction. We go on ahead and try to call them, see if they're able to. If not, we can use my video here.
No, I'm trying to get
We can leave and we could do a team, we could rejoin by teams.
Okay, she sent, Nikki sent.
Here we go. I'm just gonna see if I can't join by teams and then let them present off my computer. We'll leave up the mic here.
I'm gonna go ahead and grab my iPad.
There, gosh, now it's working.
Here we go. Don't worry about it. We'll do this. Here we go. I think this will. But basically, my phone is deep. That'll be just fine.
You want to let everybody know as possible, we're trying to pull up.
Yeah, we're trying to
Oh,
pull up.
No, that's fine. If anyone's watching, we are having a little trouble. We have a company overseas that wants to contact us via Zoom, but since they're overseas, we're trying to get them to our Zoom security protocol.
Hi, just join the prior teams link.
I appreciate your patience.
I'll let Stan. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Share it's not.
I am,
Turn it down a little bit. That's fine.
Yeah.
Here it's got me for a loop. So we're waiting to get this thing set up, I suppose.
Yes, I'm in.
yes, if you could, have, Don join, please.
Yes, I'm working on it.
Thank you. Okay, so I will tell you as they're coming in. They have this is the commission. Thank you so much, everyone. We have a mic on, okay, here that will hopefully pick up some sound. But the reality is that what they've done with the bridge is they've come up with a way to eliminate steel beams.
Mhm.
Right now, over in Nemaha, this is just background for the board. We went out to bid for new beams. Because of the war. It's the first time since 08 that the price has ever fluctuated, really. We're on a lead time, the roll-off time's now more than 3 months. Okay, and the bridge beam price went up variably, like they found some used beams for about 22,500 delivered. But then the new ones, oddly enough, they were, instead of in the 40 to 45,000 range, they were up from 50 to 75,000. And so there's a swing right now with iron. We don't know what's gonna happen with steel, but it'll come back. That's not the real thing that was, initially attractive from my perspective in looking at it. They came in with a concept that would allow for reusability, but also self-performance. Okay. Now, in looking at it, it's the higher density mix concrete, okay, which depending on where we're at, that could be 200 a yard. But again, you're not using the same amount of materials. I mean, if you look at the structure, and they have one actually, I visited where they're at physically in their home country, they have one of these arches built. Okay, so you can see it, 4 inches thick. All right. So you're looking at a 4 to 5 inch thick pour in an arch.
That's it?
That's it.
Similar to what the picture shows here.
Yeah. And so you've got yeah, that's very similar to what that is.
And obviously, that's a very small span.
It's a very small scale bridge.
12-foot span.
It's a 12-foot span, but as they go wider, the arch gets more pronounced. All right. Well, you'll see underneath that, it doesn't even have to have, you don't even, like, unlike a box culvert, you don't have to necessarily do all the underneath within concrete. Okay. Boz, hello.
Hello?
Hi there. So we'll just do the presentation in this way. I've given a little bit of an introduction to the technology. That basically it's an arch, okay, that can definitely span across, but that it's about 4 inches or 5 inches thick of concrete. The one that we always set underneath, when I visited you. I think I visited you guys twice. So I've seen the physical, right? It's about 4 or 5 inches thick. It's not a very, it's not like a steel intensive process, but it's the heavier pour thickness. I'm giving a little background on, for our reference over here, some of the specs in terms of, the amount of concrete. Again, nothing firm about this. They haven't looked at it, and that'd be a phase, I think, eventually after if there's an interest in the technology. But if you're looking at this, we're looking at most likely less than 100 yards of concrete. Right, poured in place, dried within.
So is it a mixed design that we can even get around here?
Yeah. Yeah, and I believe that the mix is our heavy concrete mix. Okay, very similar to that. Our heavy concrete mix may even be stronger than requires specification one.
So would that be something like what we'd refer to as a 7-sack mix?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 sacks mix, the stuff that's about 200 to 210 a yard, right? That delivered. We're looking. I'm being a little bit more generous than needed on a 55-foot bridge. Again, they haven't spec'd it all out, but that's kind of the point, is what's a hand grenade range that we're looking for. About 100 yards. And then part of that bridge span that you're seeing there, and they're going to show you a video of a bridge that they built. Okay, as part of their plan, if they can pull this up.
Okay.
What I like about it is, practically, if we decide we want to go a little bit wider, it doesn't have the same bridge attributes. Now they're there, but we're building up around it. Drive over dirt. Okay, so when we're grading, we just keep going. Right? Now you still need to have guardrails, and we can go a little bit wider, but it's less expensive. Okay, so you're building up the area around it. And also because it's an arch, naturally bridges have a lifespan. Granted, our bridges are about 45 to 50 years old on average, and then we start to have failure, but with concrete, if it pours right, we're not necessarily, nothing's ever a non.
So in their notes, they're just ballparking, but they think that this self-performed concrete style versus steel girder, I-beam, whatever, They think it's traditionally about 20% cheaper on a there is no such thing as a standard project, but on a
Right.
standard project,
Yeah,
it's about a 20% savings and
Yeah.
it's self-performed.
self-performed about 50% saving. And the other good part about it is that it's kind of once you've done it, even if you have to adjust the forms a little bit, like some of them may be reusable, like we
Yeah.
talked about, but if it's a different span, we may have to adjust the form. But the forms are really not the cost driver of saving, it's the ability to self-perform. We can always regenerate some of the forms if we need to, but again, if you've done it with a 55, you've done it. They've got a video, I don't want to take away all of their, steal their thunder with it. But I did want to provide a little bit of an outline, and then, so when we're factoring in price, I think it's about 20 to maybe 25% less. And then also, maybe if that may turn out to be even more. With the steel prices now, because the way that it's fluctuating with the beams.
Right.
It's also the downtime though. The bridges have less downtime because they cure in 5 days, so we don't have a month and a half out.
I think it's gonna be on this computer too. That's what,
Yeah.
if you wanna see it.
So
you're involved.
I would suggest that's probably enough of a lead in, that's probably more of a lead in than they need. They won't probably get into pricing or anything today, but we had some conversations about, we're shooting 20 to 25% less. And then if it's interesting, I think their goal as a company is to hit 15 bridges in the next, by 27, 28 that they're doing in the state of Kansas, but this would be a pilot. I have pushed them a little bit to give us a little bit of a better deal than others would get. So we'll see whether that comes, if there's interest, but I think with that, gentlemen, you guys want to run through a bit of the presentation?
Yes, please.
Okay, go for it.
Thank you for having us in the meeting. Today is actually a special day here in the Netherlands. It's King's Day, our national holiday in honor of the King's birthday.
Oh,
And the whole country has a day off today. But we want, of course, we have once upon a time an opportunity, and that's for us very interesting to meet you. I'm sorry that we couldn't come in. That has to do with something with the entrance to the United States by internet. But thanks to Austin, we are in. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ten Uyland. I'm from the Netherlands, from a town called Soest, in the neighborhood of Soesterberg, a former American air base, to be exact. I am one of the founders of Betonballon Technology, together with my brother, and I am genuinely honored to be in front of you today. We are here with more people. My brother Bas Uyland, my son, our son Stef Uyland, Rob Tossing, Kai Osterman from ZJA Architects and Engineer, one of our partners. Before I show you a single slide, I want to ask you one question. How long does it take to replace a bridge in Kansas? Is it years or more? 3 or 4 years? Months of planning? Months of this?
Are you asking
Real time.
once construction starts? Is that what your question is?
Yes. Yeah, from planning till the realization.
Planning
Oh.
it takes about a year of engineering, year and a half if we're gonna engineer a bridge. Yep.
Okay. Months of disruptions, of course, that's often the case. Traffic jams, detours, frustrated communities, and of course, steel prices are doubled at the moment. Budgets are under pressure. You are being asked to do more with less, faster than ever before. We built Betonballon Technology to change that. Slide 2, yeah.
It's like,
Sorry?
we haven't gotten to the slide to advance to the next of the video. There it is, perfect, all right. All right, good, thank you. We can't see how fast the workers are moving, but I understand, I've seen this slide before. I'll send it to them so they can see that it takes like. Oh, okay, good, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So it's kind of this, yeah, uh-huh.
Yes,
So they've seen this or they have the ability to see it on the
Kansas
website.
has a significant,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay,
Kansas has, thank you. Kansas has a significant bridge infrastructure challenge. Hundreds of bridges across the state are aging. Many are load restrictions, some are closed. The federal funding landscape better than it was, but it's still enough. Is it still enough to keep up with the pace of replacements needed? And here is the real pressure you face, even with the money is there. The time lot is not. Traditional concrete and steel bridges construction is slow. It requires extensive formwork, large crews, weeks of occurring time, and complex logistics. Every day a bridge is closed or restricted. Communities pay the price. Farmers cannot move. Harvest, emergency vehicles take longer routes. School buses add miles. Now the volatility in steel market since 2020, steel prices have roughly doubled. A project budget 3 years ago may not cost 30 or 40% more to build with traditional methods. There is a better way, and you saw it in the video. We build concrete bridge shells, strong, durable, beautiful, in days, not months. And today I want to show you exactly how and exactly why we believe Kansas State is the right place to bring this technology to America for the first time. And next. The Betongelas was born out of exactly this frustration, not in Kansas, but in the Netherlands, a country where we have been building and maintaining water infrastructure for centuries, a country that does not have the luxury of wasted time or wasted material, a country where engineering precision is not preferred, it's a national survival strategy. We developed a completely new method to form concrete shells using air, a balloon, and the result is extraordinary. You saw the video, and let me explain with this slide how the Betonmelon method works, because once you understand the process, the speech makes complete sense. Traditionally, to pour concrete in a curved shape, an arch, a vault, a culvert, you need formwork, timber or steel molds, laboriously assembled on site, held in place while the concrete cures, then dismantled. It is expensive, it's slow, and it generates significant waste. We replace the formwork with a balloon. We lay the reinforcement steel according to our engineers' shell design. We place the balloon, use a purpose-built, precisely shaped inflatable form inside the reinforcement cage. We inflate it. We spray the concrete around it. The balloon holds the perfect arch shape while the concrete sets. Then we deflate and remove the balloon, and what remains is a monolithic concrete shell of extraordinary strength and quality. The process is clean, it's controlled, it generates minimal waste, and because the concrete shell is cast in one continuous pour, what engineer calls a monolithic structure, there are no or less joints and no seams, no expansion joints that correct, leak, or fail over time. Think about that for a moment. Most bridge maintenance costs over the lifetime of structure comes from joint deterioration, waterproofing failures and corrosion at connection points. With beton, those failures most simply don't exist.
Yeah, water can go underneath it too, right?
Yeah.
Yep,
So during your pour, you don't have
Yes.
to divert your creek. Right? In other words, the water's going underneath the balloon form.
I think so.
Yeah, the water is gone. Yes, you're right. When I made introducing Betulon, it's a Dutch company specialist in balloon forms. We are especially focused on
On water, they don't have a, if I could speak briefly, and they don't have the luxury to divert because their country is so. Like they all, like the water is weird over there, okay, so they have to pour around the water. They actually have like canals, it's a weird. I'm not saying bad things about the Netherlands, but it's, yeah, we like the Netherlands, but they have to be able to deal with water, so the level of water they have is.
Yeah, we have a lot of water in the Netherlands.
The monolithic port.
So the balloon structure.
Yeah.
If I pour on, say, the south facing, does it
Yeah.
press
We
the
are-
other side out? Or does it compensate?
It compensates, it stays constant all the way throughout the pour, and there's a video on their website where you can see. They're spraying the monolithic
Yeah.
pour over the top as they go, they do it in the layer. It's done in hours. And then it sets, and then once that's done, they deflate the balloon, pull it out. The metal's inside where it's perfectly supposed to be framed. You can reuse the balloon the next time, so then the next time when you wanna go to another 55-foot bridge. You just put the monolithic balloon in, add the steel, it pushes up, and each time you get a perfect bridge without any,
No, makes sense.
real labor.
Do they have an approximate lifespan of that balloon? Like, is it 3 bridges, 4 bridges?
How long do you guys think the balloon might last? You guys know?
How many times we can use the balloon?
Uh-huh,
We think about we can reuse the balloon approximately 10 times. We think
okay.
so. That's very interesting one because the methods will be very durable. Then
Okay, so if
Okay,
you can reuse
next.
the balloon form up to 10 times, what is your initial cost for that first balloon? Because that balloon cost gets spread over the number of bridges.
That's
you
what
do.
that's what I talked with them about was. They have a certain cost. I will tell you, I've been pushing the margin as far as I could down. So that they would understand at the minimum, we need a 25% savings. Right? The idea of being able to do 10 bridges at. I mean, I know everybody's bridge cost is different, but. Getting the target is at a 55. I'm not speaking out of turn, gentlemen. I know you guys don't have everything down. You'll have to look at the site. As part of a proposal, but the idea is. Trying to get that cost, the overall construction cost. And all in. Somewhere underneath 125,000, but between 100 to 125,000 per bridge. And the balloon is a factor of that amortized out. That's inclusive of the minimal labor. Right, that's inclusive of the ability to license out what that balloon is up front. Also to have some level of, again, that cost is general, it gets refined as it goes down in, but. Understanding what the market is, that's the target, is trying to get to somewhere between 100 to 125,000 per bridge, and the balloon's a factor of that.
Okay.
Okay,
On a 50-foot or less span.
on a 50-foot or less span, 55-foot, like
Okay.
one of the bridges we were looking at is 55-foot. But it could go out to, most of our bridges are like 56 feet, the mid-sized bridge, they're in that range, like.
And have they worked at all with KDOT or Iowa or any of these states to try to get this to be an approved method?
No, we've been working through that collectively. I said, okay, there's an interest for them to come to the US. And so I said, well, first of all, you've got to be a cost savings. Second of all, you've got to be a materials saving, right? And a time savings. And then the third question is engineering. So what I did was, one of the main engineering firms that does KDOT bridges is Schwab Eaton out of, Manhattan. They've also got an office in Wichita. Their principal out of Wichita is a guy by the name of, Chuck May. And I sat down with him about 2 years ago. This is how long I've been vetting to determine. When we first started talking about this 2 years ago, I said, if there's a bridge technology like this, right? This would be something that you would need to have, at least initially, an engineering stamp off
Sure.
that this is gonna structurally work. Would you be willing to take a look at this and see if we could start a pilot program, kind of working in a fashion, sort of like a Morton or another building company would, where you have, here's your engineering specifications. Would you look at a stamp, to get materials compliance and structural compliance? And they said, yes. So anything that would come in here, they're one of 3 firms that really work heavily with KDOT, them and Cobb Valley, and then, another, but they do quite a bit of work. And they're pretty, as far as local to us, they're about as local as one of the KDOT related bridge companies would, but they do a lot of the KDOT design. So that would be another thing that that would be built into that overall cost between 100 to 125,000 per bridge. It's some engineering that says yes.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So these bridges have a floor, on them? They pour a floor first and then add on to it, or?
Doesn't have to. You don't have to pour a floor because underneath there, it's structural on the sides,
Right.
not the underneath. Okay, so if you wanted to pour a floor, you could, but you don't have to. It's not like a box culvert. It's structural, so it's like if you're putting, just like a hoop shed. Like the hoop shed, you know how, this is like think of it like a concrete hoop shed.
Or, yeah, what you're talking about is Quonset hut, you mean?
Yeah, on the head. Yeah, that's what I.
And you could do a riprap floor also.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that to do something on the floors, because that's the main problem with the bridges, that bridges get deeper.
Yeah, no, I think you would want to go on ahead and, just like any bridge, you'd want to make sure that you have a floor that goes down to a certain level. And you could also stabilize it with a floor. I would, I thought about, well, what if you wanted to pour a 4-inch concrete, right, slab across with some of these low to no flow bridges? You could probably do that, particularly if it's a dry summer. If you wanted to, you could do that, or you could put riprap underneath it to prevent the.
A similar way they do a little water crossing
It's
also.
a similar one, yep. But basically, the idea is you've got, instead of shutting down and having a bridge crew, right? Can you have something that goes in place, inflates, sets there, and then we just spray? That's what this.
It's out of the box thinking like that. What about a footing or wing walls for the active flows?
Oh, the wind walls?
So, yeah,
Yeah.
so where the water enters the structure, how is that?
That's a riprap question. So
Okay.
once you get that done, then you're just stabilizing around with riprap.
Okay, and then on a Quonset hut, the weight goes, I mean, the keystone holds it this way, but the weight is transferred down here. So
That's
does
right.
it sit on I didn't see in the video.
Footing.
Yeah, you want to stabilize the footing. They can talk about that, but if you see right here, that because they go up,
Uh-huh.
right? There's already stabilization that's designed around it, okay, but you wanna, I would suggest, and I'm sure the engineer's gonna have an opinion that they'll want us to go down a certain depth with a footing that they'll then pour on top of,
Sure.
okay, but again, most of the places, like I went out and got in the mud and looked at unless it's a real wet day, you know, we've got the ability for where we want to go, but, you know.
So
we're
right
not-
now, when they build a bridge, just they drive those pilings in until they hit that, right? And that's how far you go down. So do these arches?
That's going to go,
Any type of,
In a minute.
That's one stop.
that's just one stop.
Pile drive is one stop.
Okay.
But, you know, they also have pour in place footings with wing walls and abutments. So this doesn't have an abutment. The abutment is a monolithic floor. So, but I know where you're going. I mean, not every bridge is the same, so there has to be some sort of footing that structure would sit on.
And the engineer, they have some options, okay?
Uh-huh.
But the engineer would say this is the footing that they want to see here. So
Okay.
we're gonna have an engineer that says, this is what we want as the base footing.
For instance, the bridge we're talking about up by 300 OS, is that OS 51?
No,
Redbud.
Yeah, so it's 51 off Redwood.
no, that's on 170th, but I don't know what one on Red Buddies.
It's
FAS.
Shall we go?
Anyways.
Further?
Just a minute,
We're
guys.
gonna need to determine that those.
Just a minute.
those Footings are still good, so they're not gonna replace, if we do that, we don't replace the footings, the wing walls, anything, we replace the steel deck. So every bridge would be different, I would say.
Yeah, every bridge would be, I think that they'll, the idea though is, and I want for them to be able to, you know, finish up their part of the conversation, but in reality, so you guys can hear, we've gotten down pretty quickly to the point in the presentation of understanding, all right, this is a technology, they've seen the visualization, right? Understand a little bit of the price target, trying to come in 25% below the cost to build a bridge, right? The reality though is the 3 points of attractiveness, self-performance, the ability to pour in place, understanding footings and the engineer, those are the four. Yeah, KDOT approval, but it's also really, it's not even just KDOT, but it's the engineer stamp. Okay, because KDOT is, that's great. They're one person that looks at the bridge, but you want an engineer stamp. You want an engineer that said, hey, this is what, from a structural standpoint.
And if you look at their presentation, they talk about the civil works and foundations by local partners. So they're, you know, your question about foundation, yes, you would still have to have foundations, and that would still have to be determined by the soil structure, each particular bridge.
All right. So with that, any other questions before they march on? Because I know we're gonna run out of time in a minute, but any other questions on the commission?
What do we do next?
Yes.
We're interested in getting more information on the specific side.
What I would suggest is, and I've chatted with them a little bit about this because I know the commission pretty well at this point to know what would be a next reasonable step. You know, they've got a good presentation. It's great that they put this together, but also the brass tacks of what a next step would look like to have more information. I think there would be, what would make sense, I didn't know that honestly, I didn't know, guys, before this, that the inflatable was about 10 uses. But I thought that 10 bridges was about the right target if we were gonna self-perform. Okay, to understand what that would look like. So what I had suggested was, we've got 171 bridges in Nemaha County. In this, if there's 10 bridges that would fit, that we could use a pour in place form. Right, not that we're necessarily committed to do that, but if we could use a pour in place form for potentially 10 bridges. And they were able to come up with, they've got like, you know, a phase chart, like a Gantt chart almost here that would say this is our phasing, but the idea is, I've been kind of saying, why don't we come up with an idea? Probably one site visit would be necessary, but most of it's going to be the engineer out of Wichita or Manhattan that would look at it to make sure the specs go back and forth. But probably an initial site visit where they look, they say, these are the 10 bridges working with Tammy that we want to try to tackle over the next 4 or 5 years from a budgetary perspective. Put this out over a 4 to 5 year span because we don't have the budget to just dump into the bridges, but this is a capital expense. Maybe we're able to do the initial review on site sometime this summer, right? If it made sense to the commission. And then that would give them 6 months to go back, because we're not gonna do anything till next spring construction, we got a budget for it anyway, but. If we did an initial site visit and then they started working with the engineer, they could come back. And treat it like treat it like a pre-design. Yeah, hey guys. I'm gonna, okay, anyway, treat it like an initial design. Right, like we would, instead of us spending a bunch for one engineering design, but there'd be a very small phase up front where they identified 10 bridges and then came back with what they think the form would do on those. That's a reasonable next step.
Since it's a national holiday over there, we thank them for their time and I guess you can maybe reach out with some quick.
Yeah, guys, it's a national holiday. Thank you for your time. This is, I've gone through a little bit of the immediate next steps, the calculations, load materials, probably the one site visit. I've talked about that with the commission. I'm gonna come back with some questions and thoughts. Maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, we'll come back with more thoughts back and forth. But over the next week, I'll come back to some questions and thoughts that the commission might have. And then I talked about a potential phase 1 of what that would look like. For hopefully hitting up to 10 bridges with a balloon. Is that okay? We're coming up close to the end of the hour. Would that be okay if we, put a pause there and then I'll let you guys enjoy your holiday?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for Kai and Rob Troosting and Gerard Keizer. And thank you, of course, the county for the time you spent to us. And hopefully we see each other in Kansas, state Kansas,
Thank you.
within a short time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Bye, guys.
Okay.
And you thought my name was hard to pronounce.
Oh, my gosh, I know.
Yeah, that's all right.
And they're so, I love our Dutch friends. They're so formal. They're so formal. I love our Dutch friends. They're so formal.
That's excellent. Well, that's novel technology. That's interesting. And
Yeah.
so
They say the
engineering is amazing.
What's that?
What they can, the engineering, to the human eye, it looks fairly fragile, but when you think about how it all put together, it's a very strong
Well,
structure.
the compelling thing from my perspective, when I looked at it and I started to, it was compelling because of the ability to reuse the balloon,
Uh-huh.
but also because it didn't require sophisticated labor. Like the problem is, like we should be able to form when preformed houses came out, right? But preformed concrete slab, like preformed concrete
Mhm.
industrial building, there's still more skill that's involved than with this, that's an inflatable. Because you have to form it right.
Mhm.
There's still art in the form. This removes a lot of that so that it makes it.
Yeah, we used to do our own wing walls and abutments and actually on bridges here. I mean, it's not a process that we couldn't do again. So,
Absolutely. Just that skill set is sort of retired and gone.
correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So they talked about EMVI framework.
Mhm.
What was that? I can't find it again, but last night, but
Oh, no, they have a full presentation on that part of it. They did an international specification, even if this is separate from the bridge to see what wind load would happen. And it survives a Cat 5 hurricane. And so they did like, I think they referenced part of that in there, but that's not specific necessarily.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. And if that's it, you said we hit the pause button. If we have some questions, you'll be our point of contact with that.
Yeah, and
Here.
I'll try to come back over to frame out a little bit more of what a next step would look like. If
Sounds
you ask
good.
what the next step would be, and so I'll coordinate with them, kind of understanding, see
Okay.
what the next step might look like. I'll talk about it with Richard.
Okay, sounds good.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
Did you have anything for us while you're here? Since Martha. Okay. If you- She's 15 minutes left. Okay, there you go. We'll be fine. We've been,
Is Jerry sitting outside already? Do we know? Yeah. If he was, is there a way we could do that and then be ready for her when she gets here?
I have an update on the vehicles.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
I
I saw the email went back and forth and,
Yeah, it looks like we haven't done the official one.
right.
But
So in that process, in your experience, how long should an official notice process take? Is that a 2 or 3 week process?
yeah, it's gonna, and Nikki, this is not something that you have to do, obviously, but I've gotta get 25 certified letter mailing done. I've got addresses and notification. Now I need to put together a notice, so I can do it. It's probably gonna be a little bit of a special project than it would be otherwise, but. If it's streamlined for us to send out the notice, but what we have to do is we basically have to mail certified letters. All of these 20 people. So I can work on that if Nikki has time, but I understand that's not part of her regular job, so. If she has time, that's great, but if not, I understand, I'll work on it on my own, I'll just treat it like a special project. Okay, but, basically I need to now notify all 20 of these people. Okay,
Was that something the sheriff's department can do?
I asked John whether he had the infrastructure to do the 20 certified mailings today, he was like, I don't really have anybody that can help me with that, so. Which is fine,
is it just a letter?
it's a
So
letter.
it's the same letter, change the name and address,
It's a letter, but it,
certification, and if they don't respond, it's still done what we need to do, right?
that's right, but it takes me about 8 to 10 minutes to do a certified letter every time. So I'm gonna do about 20 of those. It's gonna take about 3 hours of my life, which is okay. After I get the letter addressed to each of them, so it'll be about a 3-4 hour project for me to send out these certified letters. It's gonna take me an hour to. I'll do a form and then I'll put everybody's name in it, I'll print it, and then I'll get ready, and then just filling out the certified takes 8 to 10 minutes. Just is what it is.
Okay.
I'll take about 4 hours and I'll do it this week.
Okay, so we're still moving forward.
Oh, yeah,
Good.
no, I got that. And then, I didn't know, cause I saw a couple things on here, the roofing inspections and the revised Berry dig permit. What can I be doing to help with those? Things? Those will come up. Is there anything I can do?
Because the buried cable permit, we just made some adjustments to call the road bridge superintendent before and after the project.
That's good.
And then, was there any other language in there that you?
We changed
Will and
will and shall.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that's fine. That's
And,
I mean, will and shall, but I'm used to shall and may, isn't that contract?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm saying, but legally, will and shall.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
yeah.
And,
Did you want them to?
as far as the inspection reports, it looks like
not
that
necessarily.
company, I went through them, looks like they graded, there's some sealing and stuff that we could okay them to do, but I think they've done all the work on that. We just have to look
Yeah.
at it.
I don't
They've
think,
given us a B grade on most stuff and there's some action items that we can take. And I'm assuming that that company that you've hired can do that as well.
The estimate everywhere I said 0 the whole time. I missed that.
Yeah, everything seemed to say like 0, like they weren't quoting it. They were just telling us that it was recommended it be done. But for the most part, it looked like the roofs are in pretty good shape, is what the report says.
Minor things.
I do have another update on emergency management.
Right?
Okay, you'll find out that the emergency manager from Nemaha County has resigned, take a job, he got an offer that he couldn't refuse. He's running all emergency management for the Kansas Department of Agriculture.
So the gentleman that you knew resigned and the gentleman that came in and interviewed with us has pulled back.
Which is okay.
Yeah.
But I will say I've also spoken about, I've also spoken with him about the potential for an ongoing consultant relationship. And depending on how his timeline with the state works out, he's gonna know more, but I think that that's probably still a possibility.
So we will know more too as time marches on. So everything changes, that's fine. We're very flexible and I appreciate it. Anything else? Are you on a timeline? Is that what I'm understanding?
A bit, but I'll stay as long as I do have a timeline, but I want to give as much time as stuff. I just wanted to get out my updates because I know the meeting's going back up.
And he said Mr. Clary is outside of it too.
Oh, good. Okay, great.
We wanted to bring him in.
That's fine with me, but can we throw the schedule like that?
Yes.
Okay,
I don't know, who's in charge?
Well, what I'm asking is
It's
this,
the
the lady that was
commission.
supposed to be, the lady that was supposed to be here 2 is late, right? So can we move them?
Officer Clary, welcome.
There.
Hi.
Okay.
How are you?
We have you.
Is this executive session?
Not
Not
yet.
yet.
Okay, because there's some stuff I can't talk about.
Right. We were waiting for the executive to get here.
Oh, okay.
That stuff. Nice to meet you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Jared Clay. Nice to meet you.
All right, so how much time do we need?
Only 5 to 7 minutes,
So,
depending on, like, if you guys have a question, I assume you will.
okay. So 7 minutes and be the commission and the county council. Does the clerk stay? She's our HR department.
That, I mean, that's up to you.
See no reason that she
Right.
could stay.
Okay, I'll make a motion. We go into executive session for 7 minutes to discuss the results of the background check.
Okay.
Is that-
Yes.
Okay, with the 3 commissioners, county council, county clerk, and Officer Clary present. 7 minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. 7 minutes puts us back around 2:15.
Okay.
Well, how do we take the session back in the way?
Ever, we did not complete what we needed to do, so I'll make a call. We go back into executive session with the same people for the same reason for 2 additional minutes to complete our business. Is there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, motion carried. 2 more minutes puts us back around 2:18, 2:19. We're gonna have to walk over here. We're out of executive session, back into regular with no binding action taken. Go on.
The one the highway patrol does is like probably 3 times longer than that, and then there's a personal history page, and there's a portion where I go interview a person, once I find things, to come up with more detail. But in this case, we do.
Wonderful. Thank you for your work.
Absolutely.
Thanks for the information. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Jerry.
You bet.
All right, we're a little off schedule here, but that's okay. We're making it work. Martha, are you ready for it?
I am ready. I am so sorry, my beats, apologies, I got on the job site and. I
It's
got
all
big
working out.
meeting.
No apology necessary.
Well, I mean, I don't. So I appreciate your time, ladies and gentlemen. I am here for our annual report. We received appropriations from you as Brown County.
Oh, I'm good.
Probably gonna be similar to what you heard last week.
Yes, ma'am.
So appreciate your time. Just gonna start off the very top there. We had 9 new wastewater permit applications sent to us in 2025. It was a combination of new houses and failing wastewater systems that were upgraded to get into compliance with rules and regulations. So 9 of those new permit applications in 2025 versus 10 in 2024. We issued 7 final use permits in 2025. That's for completed wastewater septic systems with the drawing on hand, lagoons with the fence put around them. They were in compliance and all good. So we sent final use permits to 7 new systems. Some of them might have been a permit application from 2025 or previous years. So I found that it takes about a year-ish or so if you're building a house to put in a wastewater system, because it's all in timing, contractor can get there and all of the other things that go into building a house. So we did not check any property systems for resale evaluations for like property transfer, like property owner A, property owner B did not check any of those, did not have us request any properties to be checked last year, 2025, which we did one in 2024. Didn't do any consultations. A lot of times property owners, if they've got a piece of ground that they're wanting to build a house on, they'll call us up and say, hey, I want to put a house here, but I'm not 100% sure if A, where to put it, or B, if I can even put a septic system on the property. So, and there's a number of other reasons we do consultations, but we didn't actually have any of those in 2025. We've actually had a couple already in 2026 already, so they'll be on next report. I had a handful of nuisances and other activities. KDHE reached out to us about a year ago. It was, I believe I saw it was in March, for someone was dumping demolition waste in a creek in a low area in the north end of the county. So I'm at the sheriff's department. KDHE wasn't able to be there on that meeting. So I met sheriff's department, number of representatives from the tribe. It was right outside the Iowa tribe, and they had some concerns about, being so close, how it was going to interact with them. So I gave a report to my contact at KDHE, and she was able to give basically a warning to the person that was dumping this demolition. What he's doing is taking houses down and just dumping them in the ditch somewhere. If you have clean rubble, the concrete, the blocks, bricks, pavement, asphalt type things.
Stuff that people would use for that.
Yes, those are considered clean rubble, and those are able, he was the guy, the property owner was just wanting to fill in his waterway, so he could farm to the top of it. And this guy was dumping everything, household waste, wood, all kinds of stuff. So KDHE made him clean that all out, other than the clean riprap and all the rubble. And I was there after he got it all cleaned up, and it looks very nice and, back to the way it should be, before he started dumping stuff. He did put the rubble materials into the waterway in an acceptable manner. KDHE signed off on the pictures, and so that was a good outcome on that one. The next one, we got a church outside of the city limits here. They were having sewer backup issues in their new building addition. And so they called me to come on site. I thought maybe the system was undersized and we were going to implement a wastewater system for it, but ended up, they just misplumbed the addition. Like, they didn't tell me exactly the details, but basically, everything should run to the septic tank, and some things were connected to where it was basically running in a circle and not making its way back to the septic tank. So they were gonna reroute some stuff inside the building and get that fixed up. And then there's a property in reserve that has some wastewater running out on the ground. We're working with them as far as trying to get some grant funding to help fix this up. Now, reserve, is my understanding, is incorporated. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe reserve is incorporated. And our grant is only supposed to help people outside of incorporated areas. So when we get to that point, I'm actually out of grant funding for the fiscal year that we're currently in, hoping to get more grant funding July 1st. And at that point, I'll reach out to Katie and say, this is a little white space in the road. This is not like a municipality, with a lot of buildings and stuff. Can you make an exception for this? Because I go by their guidelines as far as who can receive the grant funding and whatnot. So we're working with them as far as getting. And that's been kind of going on for a while. We've given him a couple of options to get by with his wastewater not running. It's basically his washing machine is running out on the ground. We're trying to get that all contained inside this septic system to where it's in compliance, because Kansas doesn't allow me to discharge on top of the ground.
Is that considered gray water?
It is, and no gray water can. The only thing that can be run on top of the ground is sump water. When you pump that out of the basement, that's from the ground and goes back to the ground. So, but otherwise, we license all of our wastewater system installers and then guys that pump out the septic tanks and all the wastewater. We recently updated our website, probably within the last year and a half. We updated our website, and we've got Facebook page to try to put pertinent information on for all of our county patrons to, be up to date on, how to take care of your well or septic system and all kinds of hopefully how we do best we can. So
Well, thank you for coming in. We got about 3 minutes. I'll ask you a question.
You bet.
That's okay. At the last meeting, discussed KDHE and its properties with a lot of trash.
Mhm.
And any KES partners, that's the where we can make contact to help people work through
Illegal dump.
legal bills. There you go. Could you explain it to the board?
Absolutely. KDHE, Kansas Department of Health and Environment, has an illegal dump grant program where they've got a fellow who runs this program for the whole state of Kansas. Where if you've got a property, whether it's inside city limits, out in the county, doesn't matter. The county, in our case, would partner with KDHE to come in and determine A, that it qualifies for their illegal dumping grant program. B, they try to get the property owner to clean it up themselves, get them qualified for the funding, because they have certain parameters for qualifying for that grant income wise. And they do all of those qualifications. If it's considered orphan waste, which we have one of those in Dauphin County, someone just was pulling up to the head of a ditch and dumping, there was all kinds of stuff in there, not identifiable who it was coming from, that was considered orphan waste. So we were able to utilize that grant to clean that dumping spot up. You can't imagine the improvement that was made. I mean, they came in, our road and bridge, our Dauphin County entered into an agreement with KDHE, contracted with them that said, yes, Dauphin County is willing to use the road and bridge guys to help clean it up and get everything back the way it's supposed to be. They actually, road and bridge guys put a new tube under the ground, which KDHE had nothing to do with, but KDHE funded a guardrail to go across this area to hopefully help prevent future dumpings. We've got a no dumping sign there, but a lot of people disregard those signs, as you probably can see in your own county. But this guardrail is just an extra thing that KDHE was willing to help fund to help us hopefully prevent future dumping in that area. And so basically a municipality or the county would enter into an agreement with KDHE to, participate in this program. And either, like if it's a city or even a municipality, that city would agree to offer some labor equipment to help clean up a particular property if the property owner does not have that resource available to them.
And so there's no enforcement.
I'm gonna say loosely yes, because if we say you're okay, you've got property, we're gonna come to you and say, oh, first of all, it's gonna start with a letter from the KDHE. We've received a complaint on your property that says someone is dumping or you're dumping materials on there. It's an illegal dump. If you've either refused to get it cleaned up through us or failed to get it cleaned up in the timeline that we set out, then the county can reach out to KDHE, participate in this illegal dump program. From there, they pretty much take it over and they'll reach out to you, the property owner, and say, okay, we've had a complaint. We know that there's an illegal dump going on your property. We need you to get this cleaned up. Do you qualify for our funds? Because it's a 75-25 percentage on the funding. They don't pay for 100% of it, but it's 75-25 mutual with you, the property owner, the county, and KDHE. So if you don't qualify, they know that it's going on, and so they're going to come in and say, okay, Mr. Smith, I'm not calling him Mr. Smith, but they go to Mr. Property Owner and say, okay, you don't qualify, you've got a mess here, it needs cleaned up. We're going to make sure and follow up and make sure you get it cleaned up.
So how does that happen?
He's got his.
So the sheriff's story, is it a citation or?
That would be questions for him, but I know he's got his legal department and he basically runs the majority of the program. We initiate the process with the letter to the property owner and trying to get it cleaned up. Then we can reach out to him and say, okay, this is a definite bad situation that needs to be cleaned up. We reach out to him, then he, kind of takes it over from there, working with the county, the municipality, whatever it's going to be. I would encourage you to get him in, to a commission meeting. He's very available, very personable guy to explain the program a little bit better. I kind of gave, kind of that 10,000 foot view of how the program works, but he's got all the details, all the ins and outs, and it's a great program. That done over there, at Doniphan County, I mean, it worked. It was very smooth getting that. Now, we don't have a lot of complaints from you guys as far as illegal dumps go. We know they're out there, but until people call and complain about them, I don't go around building park, to be honest with you.
And what was his contact's name?
Toby, who, the UHF.
I've got his. You have a car?
I do, and I'm not sure I've ever met you. I think you must be the new commissioner.
Yeah.
I'm Martha Smith. Nice to meet you.
Richard Tessalano.
Tesorero?
Yeah,
Said-
it is.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Nice to
Funny
meet you.
name, I know.
Mr. Pollard, it's good to see you again. I've seen you the last few years here. So, but yeah, if you guys, your road bridge guys, they'll call us up and say, hey, I'm working at XYZ property and I think their wastewater running into the ditch. If they call you, reach out to me. If any complaints come through like that, I'm not out looking for them. But if they're out there, they get brought to our attention, then we definitely, get on the, send a letter to the property owner saying, hey, there's a complaint. We need to check it out, and get a situation.
Okay, very good, wonderful. Well, thank you for making it in, and sorry you had some trouble, but that's all right. It worked just perfect for us.
All right, well, I appreciate the time, and again, sorry for the delay, and appreciate working with you. We've received your appropriation for 2026, sent letters out for 2027 budgeting purposes, so look forward to continue working with you, and thank you, and feel free to reach out anytime.
Thank
You
you.
guys.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
All right. See, Mr. Roberts is in the back there.
I'd like if I could have a 10-minute executive session with just me and the commission for 10 minutes before we do that. 10 minutes.
Do you have 10 more minutes? Okay.
Yeah.
So, and for what?
Matters related to non-elected personnel paying for them
Okay, all right. So I would make a motion. We have 10 minutes.
and the attorney-client privilege.
Okay, with the 3 commissioners in the council.
You can do both. You identify both reasons in the executive session.
Okay, 10-minute executive session, 3 commissioners, county council, attorney-client privilege and matter related knowledge. Person, make that in the form of a motion. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. 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 Okay, motion carried 243, give or take. Okay, we are out of executive session, back into regular session with no binding action taken. The next thing on our list, and I appreciate your patience, Brandon, is executive session with you and the three commissioners, county council, county clerk, for the, to discuss, I guess, emergency management coordinator interview. How long do we need, gentlemen? 15 minutes, is that?
But every time we try to cut it to 10, always come back.
Okay, so we'll go for 15 minutes, all right, so is there, that's in the form of a motion, is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
okay, motion carried, 15 minutes puts us almost 3 o'clock. We're out of executive session back into regular. However, we did not complete our discussion, so I'll call for another 5, okay? 5 minutes with the same people for the same reason. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. 5 more minutes puts us about 3:05. We're out of executive session back into regular, with no binding action taken. Good? Any more questions for us? Did you fill the sheet out? I'm sorry, then we would, if you're here, I would make a form of a motion, and you're acceptable to what we talked about, to hire Brandon Roberts as our part-time emergency management director for 24 hours per week, which makes him eligible for papers at $25 an hour. With the pickup and a phone stipend. And would you like to start?
So what pay period, what would be a good way for him to start? Okay, so what you're saying is if he started this week, he started in this pay period, and that's enough time to do that.
Is tomorrow agreeable?
Yeah.
Starting tomorrow.
Sooner the better, because I'm ready to get into
So I made that in a form of a motion then.
I'll say, it.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, right on. It was suggested we have an available office here on the first floor of the courthouse, just like the old road and bridge secretary's office. You might look at that. Would that be appealing to you?
I'm not sure about, where he was at or not, but probably within a year.
And they might, but if you'd like to work in the courthouse, I mean, there's a space available for you there. Okay, yeah, wonderful. All right.
All right, thanks, sir.
Nicky in the building, I think it's see about that. It's like, is the janitor kind of like, is there a key to the door, that kind of stuff, or does he get you? And you understand she's HR too, so.
Yeah.
Any of the onboarding or anything like that can go through her and she'll handle the office and everything. The only other thing is we'll have to coordinate with the sheriff's department, because I believe your truck is out the sheriff's department.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks,
Again.
sir.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, exactly. All right, good job. Does anyone, it is 3:08, does anyone need a little recess? Drinking water? Right, all good? Yeah, here we go, all right.
That's it's a diamond. I think we're so close to finding out issues that we related. I city and business related this community, that was in the plan. You don't technically have to, but it is something to come up. So I don't think it's stop. Yeah, all right, and we will be talking about this, these obviously done with the dispatch, so with the dispatch meeting, then I would let them.
Wonderful, good. And that answered my question, I want to win the meeting, so, okay, that it? On that subject, yes, okay, so we'll just march down the agenda. Yes. Did you give us all your updates, or you have?
Other than the meeting, so my updates this week with the project is track of that. Then, on British thing, back to the proposal, for a set, make sure the and then we're kind of waiting my we're gonna see something a lot of situation right now.
If we don't have a lot of information on that front, we haven't gotten anything back from Amberwell on pricing. Right, we're talking about the health insurance. We haven't gotten any pricing information back on that. You know, Greg has said we probably shouldn't go back out to market this year at this time. But there was a desire that we look at the market. There's Amber with Sailor, that's a third option locally. I think that administratively, if you're gonna do something before this budget cycle,
Mhm.
then you probably need to put a date certain that we need an answer back from Amberwell and from all of these other individuals about interest. Sometime before the second or third meeting in May, because if you don't have that information going into budget, then it's not. Then it's not necessarily gonna be helpful to you. Right now, though, you've only got half a year, like Greg would say, you've only got a half of year of information to run off of, so you're gonna be going off of some speculation with 2024. There is a bid process that's going on with Sailor over in Nemaha, so you could tag onto that potentially and have her look at it. Or just Sailor Amber with Sailor looking at it. But I think if you're gonna get information back this year, that's gonna be useful as you're going through the budget, you probably need to have kind of a point in time meeting in mid-May, so that by the first meeting in June or the second meeting in June, you've got some information.
Mhm.
Now, that could be updated as you get closer to budget, but if you don't have that, you're really in the midst of budget trying to make calls like we did last year, and that's not gonna be the most helpful movie, so.
All right, so an action step on that is,
Make sure that, if you're comfortable with it, say, look, we need information back, and I would probably reach out to. If Amberwell is still interested, that's great. I'd reach back out to Greg, and I'd probably reach out to, if you want another option, I'd probably reach out to Amber, that way you looked at 3 different people.
so Greg is working regardless.
Greg's
The
working.
Amberwell thing, we have really very little input onto the speed of their operation.
Yeah, but we need to know, if they're gonna do something this year, we need to know in the next few weeks, like if they're gonna come back with an option. We need to kind of have some preliminary estimates by the first meeting.
Okay.
And that would be the information I would probably share with Greg and say, hey, look, we're trying to find ways to get to more fully insured with zero deductible. What can you come up with? And then I would probably even reach out to potentially Amber, Letcher, if you wanted Sailor over in Nemaha County. See whether they have some options. And so that way you've at least talked to 3. If Amberwell has nothing, then you've at least got 2 people that are looking at it. But understand Greg's your current, and he says he can come up with any options, so you might just focus on that.
And last year, before you were here, we had a Freedom's Claims company came in and we looked at that option, which didn't present that. Was quite confusing, actually. So we, I mean, I would be in favor of, do we need to make some sort of motion then, or do we
I
just?
should say, if that's what you want to do, I mean, you really have 2 options today. What I would say is either kill the conversation totally, okay? Or say that this is our next action step, that we need all of our information in by June 1 for preliminary estimates, and then by mid-May, we need to know who's gonna be a participant in the conversation. Otherwise, if you don't put deadlines on it, like if you stretch into July, there's too much capital improvement budgeting that's going, like, you can't get an estimate of what you're doing, you've got too much other budget.
Okay.
So I would make a motion that you formally want, if you want to do that this year, I would either make a motion to kill the conversation this year or make a motion to require all information concerning alternative insurance options to be received by June 1, first meeting in June.
And that would be up to the insurance company to get that information to.
Yeah, it's gonna be up to them. They're gonna have to coordinate on what the bidding information is, but this at least. You give clear direction as the commission, you either A, wanna do something this year, or you don't.
And is 5 weeks enough time or 4 weeks enough time? 1st of June will be here pretty fast.
They could at least come in with preliminary cost estimates if they need, like. You could push it to June 15th, that gives them 6 weeks,
Okay.
right? June 15th is. I'll look at which meeting that
And
is.
so how do we reach out to the people we would like to be involved?
I would suggest that you've already had contact with Greg.
Uh-huh.
I have Greg's email address, I have Amber's email address, I have the email address for Amberwell Health. And so I could circulate out an email if you'd like with Richard Poppy that says, hey, we have a deadline to provide, we need to get formal information back, we're gonna consider it by June 15th. And that's actually the meeting date, June 15th, the 3rd Monday in June.
We need this information back before that meeting for at least conversation, and then I would plan on having a forum discussion. Right, where the three people are allowed to present during the meeting and say, well, we're gonna receive feedback. Either after this meeting or from these three groups in the 2 meetings following that up and say, look, we need information so we can review it by the June 15th meeting. And I give them 6 weeks.
What say you? Melvin?
Yeah, I think that we always need to be pursuing this. If it doesn't work out because of time constraints, at least that's the reason we're not doing it. Does that make sense? In other words, we get on it early. We've been saying a lot of the stuff the first quarter of this year, which.
We're in the cyber.
Exactly. So.
Okay, so since the two, we are already actively engaged with the Amberwell project potentially and with One Direct, do we need a separate motion to look? That Sailor Insurance?
I would say just up to with that, Amberwell and that Sailor Insurance and that, what's the name of our other company? I never remember it.
One Digital.
Yeah, One Digital, yeah. I would just say a motion to inform all three of them that we're considering options and need all information back for alternative healthcare solutions by June 15th. That'd be.
Right, so you understand?
Yeah.
That makes sense?
It does.
Anyone want to make that in a motion? You want me to? All right. Well, I would make a motion then that we establish a June 15th deadline for presentations about alternatives for health insurance for the county with our current provider or current broker, One Digital, for the Amberwell project and for Sailor Insurance.
There you go.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? Are we clear on our intentions? Okay. No more discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, you said aye. All right, walk over here. All right, motion carried. So June 15th deadline. And so if I'm hearing you correctly, then you're gonna reach out.
Yep, I'm gonna reach out. So I'm gonna set that up. I'll do that.
All right.
I'll copy Nikki on it too in case I think Greg has all of our information. I think Amberwell has all of our information.
Okay.
I don't know if any additional, I don't know what Sailor would need. Okay, but if they need something, I'll copy Nikki on.
All right.
It should be whatever Amberwell does as well.
What next?
I don't, I think that there was an initial budgeting that Nikki and the department heads had. You guys had an initial meeting, but probably to understand. I don't know what level our budgetary consultant wants to provide like a summary explanation or a secondary follow-up meeting so that you guys can start to understand what your 5-year capital improvement plan is going to look like department by department. Again, that's up to you guys as a commission. Okay. Well, I don't know. It's up to the commission at what level you want to be involved in capital improvements of each department.
When he forms that, when Scott Lloyd, when you guys come up with that, can we see that?
It's in before the department is gonna fill it out.
Okay. 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 And then Austin's asking the question because I assume you have some sort of experience here.
I've represented. I think I've represented over 20 governments in the past 18 years. And so I'm not in whether it's administrative or legal capacity. Like, I don't really care. This is a budget.
So are you speaking specifically to the capital improvement plan, something
I'm
that we'd like to do?
I'm speaking that in a budgetary process.
Okay.
Okay, you've got a budget consultant and you've got department heads. Okay, my job is, I'm not, to be very clear, I am just providing administrative support to the commission, not a county administrator. I function as a county counselor to advise on issues relative to legal liability. But from an administrative support, it's all I'm providing is comments on what you might want to expect. You have to decide at what level you want your 5-year capital improvement plan to look like from the department. Right? You've hired a budgetary consultant that is external. If I were accounting, what would I be focused on? How do we get to a 5-year capital improvement? Because without that, you can't get to an accurate budget understanding.
Yeah.
So what you have to decide is you have a manual default function, which is each department comes in with budgetary requests. All right, those budgetary requests are sensitive to what the department needs to operate.
Mhm.
Okay, you have budget authority. And you have the responsibility to determine what budget requests should be used. What I'm saying is you've got an independent budget consultant that's working with individually elected departments. And then you have control over some other departments that you basically operate with department heads that you install.
Mhm.
If you don't understand at early to midway through the process, what the budget recommendations are gonna be, then the default that happens oftentimes is you get a budget that gets run. And then you're trying to figure out what to cut and why. Right? Where instead, if you have the process of understanding what the needs are for the next 5 years. You're not looking at what to cut and why, you're looking at what to spend and how to get it. And so the idea is you've got to decide at what level you want to be in. You're the ones that control your budget. If you're looking at what to cut and how, okay, then you've got everybody that says the needs are today, right? If you say, look, these are my needs for the next 5 years and how do I get there? Then you have the ability to say, this is what we have right now. And this is how I want to spend to support you to get there. And here's how we'll do it. So that's the way, if you're looking as a commission, because that's the difference. As a non-county administrator, that is a commission role. And there's no reason the commission can't do this with the department. You don't need a county administrator to do this. You guys can do it.
Sure.
Right? So what you're asking to do is you're inserting yourself at this point so that you understand from the department heads why they're asking what they need. What does it look like for 5 years? This is this year's base budget. How do we get what you need? And then how do we get there together? So those are like 3 or 4 questions that you could ask, but the only way you've spent the money as a county to hire an independent budget consultant. So if you're gonna use that expenditure, that person is not supposed to just go to individual department heads and write down, and that's not what they're doing. They're consolidating what that looks like in a 5-year outlook. What you're asking for now is, hey, can you make us a part of that process so we understand how we can empower people to spend to what they need instead of just act like a cutting instrument
Right.
right at the end. That's what I'm saying.
Nikki, you've gone through how many of these with this gentleman? Like, is this the second or third or fourth year?
Second.
So when you guys meet with him, do you guys talk about this year specific, or does he ask you to project out farther? So it's not just like focused on 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay.
This shouldn't be an engagement, a scope and margin. This should be just an exercise that you get involved in. And elsewhere, if you're asking about other experiences, okay, it depends on what city or government or county you're at. If you were in Sedgwick County, okay, they are so extreme about how they budget funds. They have 9 people in the county counselor's office, their legal support. They make their attorneys track time so that they can budget to each individual department. So if they're representing the clerk's office, they make that a clerk's expenditure.
Okay.
Now, we're not that extreme, but what I'm saying is you're trying to get an understanding of what people need and want.
Well, I'll reach out. I might just, if it's okay with you guys, I might just call Scott.
I would.
And just see what's going on. I got his number and he did first round. It looks like he's on for the 15th of May. Is the next time I see him.
Yeah.
On our calendar. So I'll just touch base.
I've heard he's really great to work with.
He was wonderful last year.
Yeah, I think he's gonna give, I think everything you're asking for, you're just asking for a heads up.
Okay. I'll just reach out to him.
Do you feel like when you meet with him and the department heads meet with him, does it work pretty well? Do you guys like the process, or is it kind of a?
I don't know that you need it.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good to know too. Okay.
Well, on my list of check items, and then I'm gonna stop.
Okay.
We went through budget. We talked about insurance, which is gonna relate to budget. We talked about one aspect of the bridge capital improvement.
Mhm.
Okay, which we have at least one option on now. You guys have looked at microsurfacing, and that's happening elsewhere, which is one form of alternative coating. All right, for the rest of the bridge, but you had a list of 6 or 7 long-term tasks that you wanted to get to.
Mhm.
You've touched on all 5 of them, 4 or 5 of them, to
Okay.
my knowledge at this point.
Well, since Tammy's in here, she can listen. Tammy, we were talking about budgeting and we understand that last year, you do the road and bridge budgeting pretty much.
Right.
So we may, with our new superintendent, our new road and bridge superintendent, we may want to do some things differently. So before you set to work and put to paper all that budget stuff, could we get together? So we don't have you wasting your time, essentially. Would that be all right? Okay, just basic, he mentioned microsurfacing versus, maybe it's like Prairie Road. Maybe we decide we want to budget for that next year instead of doing like the 80, 90 miles.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Should we do all this? I think we should do this together so she doesn't
No,
put it down and we say, well, we don't want that.
100%.
Okay.
I think you have to, but I also think that we were talking about, Tammy, about each department head being empowered to, instead of it being a cycle, okay, here's some things that we would like to expend and then here's what we cut. The idea is what do we need to do over the next 5 years to empower each department to be successful in what they want to get to? And so how do we spend to get there? And so I think that's part of the conversation. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I think that's part of the
Great word.
conversation of where it's heading. Is how do we get where you want to go in 5 years, or how do we as a county get there? So, yeah.
Plus, we don't want to have people doing stuff and then walk in and go, oh, we didn't need any of that. There's nothing more frustrating when you spend a bunch of time on something. And then the people that are reviewing it they don't need it. Let's put it that way. So.
Okay, all right, wonderful. I'm sorry, did you have something for us? Okay, all right. And are you close? Do you need more?
No, I'm not.
More time? You're in good shape? Okay. All right, I just keep looking at the clock because it's a bad habit. It's 3:30.
Is there
So-
anything else you need from me?
Not at this time. I have nothing.
I think we're good.
You did very well. Thank you for your time. Okay, item number 1 on our agenda is the minutes from the 20th of April. Now, I read these minutes with a fine tooth comb. What did you see any additions, corrections, or comments, Mr. Pollock?
Did you see any?
No, I didn't.
Neither did I.
Okay, all right. So, would someone make a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay.
All right, motion carried. Friendly question to the minutes. Josh Perman, landfill assistant. Was that
I found a job out
perfect? Okay, we used operator when we,
on the building.
okay, all right. Okay, next item. Still, just conversation. The minutes are still approved as presented. The next one is a property use agreement. Homemade Bliss. They want to have a pop-up event in the courthouse square on the 1st of May. Any questions or comments?
I mean, we usually approve these, right? I mean, there would be no reason why we wouldn't let somebody do this in the past. I don't,
Just the only thing here is there's a $25 an hour fee, as long as they're aware. Okay, well, so
No, the fee only includes if they use the court.
usually registered, right?
So that's,
and so do we usually coordinate with the janitor and let him know that it's gonna be out there for any reason, like, or,
No, they don't, I think that's.
okay. Fair enough.
All right, well, I'll make a motion to approve this property use agreement with Homemade Bliss for the 1st of May. Is there a second? Moved and second. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 All right, motion carried. Job. Item number 3 is the roofing inspections. Now, I looked at these and I saw minimal work, and with somewhere it says you can sign the repair recommendations link after reviewing. I didn't see that.
Yeah, one of them wouldn't pop up for me. Everything popped up, but one of them wouldn't.
Nothing over $1,000.
So have we used them in the past? Is this the company that does the inspections, and have they performed any repair work?
That's it.
Okay. So is there a way to get a clear idea of exactly what they would charge us if they were to make the recommended, because I don't,
I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
yeah, I didn't see it either. I don't know why.
They're flying.
Wait a minute. What's the health department?
You know, it's a bond.
800,
865.
865.
They're one about. The local study building, 1,000. And the courthouse is 1,193. I'm gonna go with it. Yeah,
Okay, what was the second amount, Nikki? You read off? 16, yeah. Okay. So. I guess before I would want to approve, I mean, it's $4,600 if I'm punching everything in right. Is there a person we can coordinate with and ask some more questions? Because. Who's been the point of contact, I guess is what I'm. But Vern is the guy? Okay. Would you guys have a problem if I called Vern and just talked to him about this? Before we just say, yeah, go do it and. We get to. Have them walk through it a little bit.
So
more. I
we
mean,
need
it's a very thorough report and I appreciate that. And they got all the pictures and obviously it sounds like it.
That's part of, is it KAC or KCAM? KCAM. They presented to us last year and this roof inspection service to try to save the county money on it. Sure. All right. And so we engaged them on the 4 biggest, most expensive building. Right. And they came back and found some problems, I think, here and over there.
Yeah.
You remember those?
Yeah, I
Okay.
do.
All right. Fair
And
enough.
it's, I mean, it's an impressive report. It's not like they're just sending a report. They got pictures and they've got examples. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Okay, that's wonderful. You'll talk and then report back next meeting. Okay. Next on our agenda is the tax change orders, just under advisement. We looked at them. Now we have our revised bury and dig permit. The changes are marked in red. Looks like instead of will, it'll say shall, and just some other grammatical changes there. Go ahead.
I had one question about, where it says number 5, all crossings, county roads shall be boarded such as 5 feet or whatever. Otherwise, approved right by the county. So what about the township roads? Do they have to have a separate thing for the township roads? I mean, I don't think we.
Where did the board depth come from? Was that something?
I don't know. Usually there's specifications that the state will have, and then you can amend those. But 5 feet is basically they're wanting to establish that anything that they're doing is going to be below something that would cause future conflict for us to trench across.
So I must have missed a step. What I was aware of, we were going to advise the road superintendent before and after. And some of these other changes, and they came from someplace, but I don't know.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, I was going to ask you because we've added an indemnification clause, which I always think is good. So, okay, so that's how you got the indemnification clause. Okay, you understand the
So who was
indemnification
that from?
clause? An indemnification.
Yeah, but
clause.
who did that information come from? Website.
Yeah, I looked at it and was like, oh, the attorney must have got a hold of it or something because, well, I read through these and this looks more like what you would see normally. So, and I think the bore depth is something that, we have the right to say at this location, you guys can come up, but if we're keeping all that stuff at 5 feet, it's not.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, but
Yeah.
I guess my problem was I like that one group that did the fiber optic cable down there, they didn't necessarily do it on the township roads like they should have, in my opinion. So what's is there any way to hold them accountable?
Well, again, this is a county thing.
Yeah, it's a county road.
Does the township have their own agreement, you know, Nikki?
Yeah, I don't know what happens if they have
Well, I'll tell you what, Would it be okay if we reached out to a couple of them and asked them if they have because they could do an interlocal agreement with us too.
Right.
So
So when it says crossings of all county roads, does that mean the ones we maintain, or does that mean all of it? I mean, it's kind of.
when I read this, it's county roads that we maintain.
Yeah.
Because if they're gonna be working within the township, our county guys aren't gonna go out there and
Right.
meet with them.
So,
So
I
this
mean,
has to do with the county.
I think it's kind of fuzzy there that.
Yeah.
I read it to mean Brown County, and that's because county is capitalized as proper and you read Brown County proper. So county road would be an old road, or county structure would be a bridge or anything
Okay.
like that. So one procedural question, when a company presents us with the permit, we approve it, someone representative would pick it up, I assume. How do we get them our road superintendent's phone number and information so they can contact? Does he have a business card? Do we need to put his number on this form? What do we need?
I would say a good thing would be anytime we sign one of these, that we attach Jerry's card to it or Jerry's information. That way we provide them and then, because that information could change too, but so that's the easiest way to do it. We're signing it, he's gonna get notified, he takes it from there.
Well, I like the changes, everything he did. I would make a motion that we approve the new revised, the revised bury and dig permit, with the changes made.
I'll second.
Okay, so moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Moving on 300 from Kestrel. I read that letter.
Yep. So I have reached out, I have talked to her, I met with Jerry this morning at 300 in Kestrel. There's lots of things that have to kind of be worked out. I also called Connie back after that meeting and explained she's happy. She understands where we're at. This isn't something, we have the best of intentions right now to go in and put two culverts to mitigate some of the problems. But we're also creating some problems by doing that. And getting Jerry involved is we're trying to come up with a resolution to work with the landowners, because part of the problem is we're hoping that some of the landowners there will also do a little bit of work as we're doing work. To prevent, what we don't want to do is fix one problem and create a problem downstream.
Right, so you're still talking about putting one from the culvert from the north side and the west side of that closed road, or not north side, but south side of it.
It'd be north side to south side on the east and west side of the road. That's what the proposal is right now.
So looks to me like that water should have been draining down through their place, through the railroad bridge.
The problem is we vacated that road in 1954. There is no road there. It's access, but it's not our road. And there isn't no ditch there.
Well, is that why is there no ditch? Cause it filled in,
Because it's private property and they don't
maintain it.
have to have a ditch there if they don't want.
And so the landowner on the other side of the road, looked like he cleaned out his ditch.
That's being worked on right now by Connie, by that landowner. She's doing her own thing, but that ditch is going away.
On the east side of the road.
Yes.
You're working on this in concert with Jerry.
We are. I took a video for you guys and we could discuss it at this week's workshop. She put it in there because there was another letter sent. I did talk to Connie. I did have a meeting out there and then I called her back and she understands where we're going right now. There is still, we are going to proceed with the 1 tube first, which would be on the west side of the road. Okay. And then address some reshaping of some ditches out there that have been filled in over the years. And then try to come up with a comprehensive plan that allows us to do the other side of the road, but doesn't just dump it on that person's land also. So there is not only some tubes that we're going to be doing, but we're going to be reshaping our county ditches to keep the water in the ditch, if that makes sense. And part of that is Evergy is there. So I've got to meet with Evergy because as we reshape those ditches, so the water literally flows in the ditch, we got to work around their power poles. If that makes sense.
Kind of have a problem with, if their land is lower than what the ditch should be, or the road, why do we even have a special ditch along the property? Why shouldn't it run across the property?
There are ditches there, but over the years, the ditch is kind of raised up.
Right.
And so just like a lot of times we have to go in and reshape it so the water stays in the ditch. So we have an obligation for the county water that we're coming off of our road to stay in the ditch.
You're working on our road, on the Kestrel.
That's correct.
We're not going into the vacated.
No. No, we're not going on anybody's property or the vacated road. We are trying to get our ditches to flow water. And that's not gonna solve everybody's problem out there. They have some issues with their land. But also while we're reshaping that ditch, we're hoping that maybe the landowner will maybe do a little bit of work that'll keep some of the problem from going into the ditch.
In my experience with the township road, at least, Bill, where the field's lower than the road ditch, they'll actually burn that up to keep that water to the next available outlet.
Make it like a dike.
Yeah, and that's happened, that's on several farms we have.
Okay, so. But the railroad bridge down there, it looks like that's where the water should go under the railroad.
Not necessarily. We actually have a tube. If you continue south down the road, the water's supposed to come down the ditch. We have another tube that goes underneath our road to the creek. And again, getting the water to that tube is part of the problem. So we want the water to continue heading south. And if it does, there's already a tube there that goes under the road that discharges it into the creek.
Because on the old maps, there was actually it showed a stream coming up under the railroad onto that property.
That stream is farther to the east now, the way it looks. Like if you look out there, you would think there's a stream, but there's not. So.
I guess,
I think one of the things, Bill, is when Jerry goes back out there again, maybe you could go out there with Jerry. I won't this next time, and then you'll kind of see it a little bit more in your own.
I walked back in there, I go down there and looked at the railroad bridge, like the water has been higher under that bridge than it is now.
And so right now, that particular bridge, there's a 4-inch pipe. It doesn't allow much water to go through there.
No, the railroad bridge is what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, it's the whole big span there.
No, the water that goes down the old road hits a 4-inch. So again, why don't we set up something with you and Jerry and you can kind of see where we're going, because we haven't started anything. We're still trying to come up, and the next meeting is with one of the landowners I'm going to attend. And again, much like the problem on 36 Highway, we're trying to do some work that helps us, but also have the landowner do some work too. And if we do it in conjunction, then we really mitigate a lot of the water problem. Does that make sense?
Do you want to set up a time with Jerry to go look at it? Or do you?
Yeah, he's been out there looking at it.
Mhm.
Right,
Yep, we were out there this morning at 9 o'clock.
so. Me, there needs to be a ditch dug out along that closed road, which are either the landowner.
We can't do that though.
Well-
That's all closed. We don't own it anymore. We vacated it.
But to me, that's their problem, not our problem.
Okay, but that's just one piece of the pie out there. That doesn't do anything for the landowners on the other side of the street,
On the west side of the street.
on the west side, yeah.
Yeah,
So
well,
we're starting on the west side
do
and
that,
trying to mitigate that problem, and then we're gonna move to the east side.
right, so I'm not complaining about the west side,
Okay,
just and the guy on the east side was complaining about dumping more water on him,
everybody's complaining out there.
so I'm not. Since the railroad put that big bridge there, obviously there was water going under there, and it looks like that should be where it should still be going,
That would be from one person, yes,
from one farm.
yes. But we're talking about several farms out there, so we're trying to fix a problem that doesn't create more problems.
Right, and you got a lot of people looking at it that know
Right.
about drainage, and we'll come up with a solution.
Yeah. And I think it would be good if, once we come up with a little bit more of, okay, this is the size of tube and what we're gonna do, if you could go out there by yourself or with Jerry, meet with Jerry and understand a little bit better. And maybe you have some solutions too.
I was looking at old 1960 land map.
Yeah.
It looked like that was why they built the railroad bridge there, because there's water running down out that farm. I mean, there's actually a line up there that shows there was a stream up there. And if that's just filled in, then that's really not.
Yeah. And again, that's one problem of several problems out there. So we're gonna attack what we think is the easiest problem on the west side of the road
Right.
first.
Start there.
And start there.
Is a good advertisement for what we wanted to do this summer, the maintenance, the road maintenance here.
Yeah.
This is probably an issue that people have been dealing with for years, and we've got the time, the ability, and the desire to fix it. So we'll come up with something. But nothing will happen within the next week. They're not gonna roll any.
No, no.
So we'll be in touch. Okay. Just an update. I spoke with Michelle Brinwall. I called her today. Just for an update on the tax sale. Everything's going the way it needs to be. There were a few properties that due to some, I just call them errors. I mean, just omissions or errors, whatever you want to be, that won't be eligible to sell. But it was only two in the week. And as far as Sheriff Merchant calling the auction, she thought that was great. So that's wonderful. And then, that's all I had. Yes, that's it. We've talked about everything else. Is there any other stuff that comes before the commission?
Regular session.
Meeting.
We won't video about. Not every year.
Okay.
There's been ones that we can use for, state or maybe. So we asked for that, so. I know what's that thing.
We'll conduct regular business, so we just don't have video of that. That's all. Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine.
What is looking
He raised several concerns and we agreed to meet with him and have him list his concerns.
Yeah.
Because obviously there were a lot of things going on there.
His specific question was gap funding, for the last few years. And I actually think I still have.
It was, so I remember 79,000 last year.
Yeah, I remember. I have some information and if I can't find it, I'll seek it. Yeah, I keep all that stuff, believe it or not. Just gotta find out where it is. Okay. Anything else? It's been a long meeting, but it's productive. It just takes time, unfortunately. It's a rainy day, so. Anyway, Bill, you good? Okay, so we've addressed it. We still got some signatures here. But other than that, I guess if we're done,
So we're meeting at 6.
Oh. So. Dallas, on the website, notes for that, what we.
We said we'd be there at 6. I'll get there probably 10 minutes early and we stage because we're waiting on their meeting to end. It could be 6:30 by the time they could see us. So
you bring in the pizza.
if you would like, I will bring you pizza.
Okay.
Just let me know.
I'll make the motion then that, well, I guess we advise everyone, the commission and the clerk will be at the Hiawatha City Council meeting tonight
For a workshop.
for a workshop type session, so. Now, you know, and I think that's it for the business. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Moving second, all in favor, say aye. 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 Okay, motion carried. We're adjourned, 3:49.
I signed one.